It's been called historic, the start of a regional transit service right here in Niagara. So the name of our next guest, the first Niagara Transit Commission General Manager, will no doubt go down in history. Carla Stout, there's no pressure on you.
No,
not at all.
Not at all. Not at all.
You took this job in August. A lot of planning goes forth January 1st.
Yes.
It's launched.
Yes.
What went on in that time?
Well, in that time, for the first few months, really the glut of the work was on the interim board. So the interim board was established by the Region of Niagara when they established the commission itself. They put 15 players in play from each of the municipalities to represent the services that were being combined. And it really was hard graft on the board. And myself and a team of professionals at the region putting things together like a work plan for the first year, our organizational chart, doing a draft budget to bring that forward to Regional Council just this past week. And that sounds like pretty easy sledding, but when you're starting from scratch with a brand new organization that has, a gross budget of about $77 million and 450 plus people, it was a lot of work. The board did a fantastic job. They put out so much time and energy and effort into getting us at least to day one. And they're seated. We did have some people who dropped off after the municipal elections, but they're seated until the end of this month. And then we're going to have our first inaugural board of directors that are going to be with us for the next 4 years. So they're going to be starting in February with us. So I know that there's a lot of work for them left to do, and certainly a lot of changes that they're going to steward us through, for sure.
Can we talk more about people?
Yeah.
We had some separate transit systems. Did people lose their jobs in this transition?
A lot of people came with us. The mandate that I asked for from the interim board was I wanted the same professionals that were delivering transit on December 31st to be the same people who were delivering it January 1st. Transit is a unique business, and you really got to be in it to win it. We had some people who decided that this was a lot of change, so they've either retired or they had gone on, but probably about 99% of all of the transit professionals across Niagara came with us.
For clarification, right now there is no plan to develop a central hub yet, correct? So things will still be running. St. Catharines Transit will have its, I guess its depot as well as its station where people will centrally collect on the buses.
Sure. Part of the process, Mike, was the Region of Niagara took ownership of the buildings that support transit. Not the lands. The lands stay with the municipalities and the tax base that own them. But the buildings themselves came with us. So things like the downtown terminal in St. Catharines, the garage depots, the facilities in Niagara Falls and Welland, some of the leasehold facilities and the larger hubs like at Morris and Dorchester in Niagara Falls, that all came with us.
So that all comes under the regional umbrella now.
We need that to run our business. Yeah.
When will we see a true regional service? And I'm not, it's not a criticism, I guess, is what I'm trying to say, but it will take some time to make this work the way it was envisioned.
For sure. I think that's our number one challenge to meet. During the process where all of the municipalities had an opportunity to vote, and that was the triple majority process that decided that we were all in the pool, we were all going to do this, everybody was going to go forward, we were going to create real regional transit. A service standard was put in front of each of the municipalities that made some commitments. And those commitments were to standardize the hours of service across Niagara.
So nobody's ending at 6 o'clock in the other municipalities at 11.
And what that means is that for someone who lives in Niagara on the Lake, who is dependent on the on-demand level of service to connect to regular conventional or big bus service, they weren't going to be left out in the cold because their service ended earlier, and regular buses were running until like 11 o'clock or midnight, that sort of thing. So that's step number one. Step number one is just to standardize services across Niagara. We took on a lot of independent, small contracted levels of service, and there's a lot of work to do there, particularly not only from operating, but from a customer service standpoint.
Right.
It's really hard for people to understand right now that this one goes till 9 and that one ends at 6 and this one starts at 7 and that one doesn't do Sundays. And so we got to get there. And we talked about that in the work plan with the interim board. We'd like to get there within the next 3 years, making sure that we can quantify that everybody's at least starting from the same playing field. And then it's a real look at how do we integrate those services so they make better sense for customers.
You mentioned equipment as well. Fare boxes have to be standardized because there is a communication process, collecting data.
And it's everything from fare boxes to the on-board technologies. You know, a lot of people don't realize that we probably have as much of an investment in technologies on the bus as you are putting into the bus itself. That technology is incredibly expensive and it all has to be integrated. And that takes some time and it takes some dollars to do that.
A lot of work still to come. What's the next thing that you chip away at in the next couple of months?
I think the next thing that we chip away at is education. I'd really like our team to spend a lot of time spending time on the things that our customers need to know. We have some great new technologies in place. We have an app. There's always an app for that.
Always an app.
Always an app. We have an app that is Niagara-wide. It's connected North America-wide to all sorts of different types of transportation, including the GO train. But that inside that app, we also have now the ability to sell mobile ticketing.
Right.
So you can have your ticket or your pass on your phone. You don't have to carry cash. You don't have to worry about not having your wallet or not having correct fare, that sort of thing. So I'd like to educate a lot of people on that, but also on what's to come. As we start to incrementally align our services and align our hours of service, I want to spend a lot of time thinking about how do we make that information available to the customer and how do we get new customers on board? How do we make them feel like what they've invested in is worth getting on board?
And that's key. Carla, thank you so much for joining us today.
I appreciate it.